Hey, what's up? It's Tati and I'm back with another review of AEW Dynamite. And before I get into the review, I just want to say rest in peace to Jerry Jarrett, who did pass away yesterday. It was so ironic to me, how I was literally just reviewing the very first episode of Tales from the Territories where he was featured, and I was just talking about how someone like Jerry would be very instrumental for AEW to have some further success in the business. I do send my condolences to his family and friends. So let's get straight into this review, you guys. Oh my god, I'm just gonna say what I thought overall before I get into more details. First of all, I just want to say I fell asleep, and I have never fallen asleep watching anything from AEW. I don't want to sound like a huge mark for AEW, but I've always find that their show would be interesting. Maybe not everything, but probably majority of the show to be interesting. However, this week, absolutely not for me. Last week was a really strong week for AEW. Probably one of the best dynamites that they've ever had. And coming off that show, and then we're going towards Revolution, which is less than a month away, and also the ROH Super Card of Honor pay-per-view coming up, and I feel like they just took a nosedive today. It just wasn't what I expected. I kind of got a little hyped earlier today. They did post a promo of the Mark Briscoe versus Josh Woods match, and it was done very, very well, and I really enjoyed that, and it made me feel really, really excited for what was to come. However, I did not enjoy this episode throughout. Only match I can honestly say that I thoroughly enjoyed was the Blackpool Combat Club versus Preston and Rouge. Was probably my favorite match of the night. Other than that, everything else seemed to have fallen flat. So let's talk a little bit more about what happened. First match of the night was the acclaimed Daddy Ass Orange Cassidy versus Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh. Now, kudos to Jeff for having this match just less than 24 hours after his dad passing. Let me just put it this way. I wasn't really expecting much from this. I didn't expect this to open the show though, but we did have moments where I guess you can say it was kind of fun, but overall, if you're looking for a good wrestling match to watch, this ain't it. They played a little bit too much with going the comedic route and probably just trying to have a little too much fun. I don't mean to sound serious, but I think that when things like that happen, it takes away from the actual wrestling of the match. Surprise, surprise, I don't remember seeing Danhausen getting involved in any type of way, but we did have the Guns come out, and they basically just watched from the ramp what was going on. I didn't feel like they were going to get involved at all. To be honest, with these guys, these 8 guys, I'm tired of seeing this combination with them. I don't want to see it again. And I can say this, Orange Cassidy, I don't want to see you in no types of matches if you are not defending that All Atlantic title. I'm gonna let it slide for a couple of weeks because I know the pay-per-view was coming up, but I'm over it. He should be defending that title, and I just feel like we haven't even seen a build going into the Revolution pay-per-view for this title, and tonight was the first time we actually start seeing them actually coming up with some matches for the pay-per-view. Up next, we do have Claudio Castagnoli and Moxley versus Rouge and Preston Vance, and this was my favorite match of the night. And one of the reasons why I really like this match was because regardless of who won, who lost, everybody looked really, really great in this match. I am so glad they decided to get Preston out of the Dark Order. Matter of fact, they need to disband completely. And I'll get into a little bit more of that later on with some other things that happen. But I just feel like the whole Dark Order thing is not working. It hasn't been working for majority of the time, especially after Brody had passed. So he really was strong in this match. Very competitive, very energetic match. We do have Moxley and Claudio coming from the crowd, and Preston and Rouge couldn't wait. They wanted to lay a smackdown, and these guys started going off, you know, near the fans. Now, this was a Texas Tornado match, so all members of each team are going to be in the ring or just fighting at all times. Anybody can be pinned, and also I believe like no disqualification. So no, even if someone were to get involved or if you were to use a type of weapon, like everything goes in this type of match. So I really did enjoy that. Rouge looks really great. He's been having really great matches. I think Preston, this was the first time since he left the Dark Order where I think he really was able to show himself. Even though this was a tag team match, I do feel like he really did stand out, and people probably even forgot about him being part of the Dark Order. Now he's finding his footing with LFI, and I think he looked really great in this match. Y'all already know Claudio and Moxley, whatever they do a really great job. They do end up picking the win here. But this is definitely the only match I think I enjoyed out of the show. Moxley and Claudio end up taking the win. We do have Jose getting involved, end up hitting one of them with a chair, and Wheeler Yuta comes out and get his ass out of there. But it was a really great match, and I enjoyed it. Right after that, we did have Hangman getting attacked by the Butcher, the Blade, and Kip. So at first I thought maybe they were doing something to like get the match out of the card, because it seemed like they had a lot going on. If you looked at the card for tonight, it just seemed like there was too much going on. So I thought that with them attacking him before the match, that it probably wouldn't happen, but that was not the case. After that, we did have a promo with JR with Wardlow. Basically talking about the significance of his hair, which is tied to his dad, who had cancer, and with the cancer treatment he had to get his hair cut off, his beard cut off and whatnot. And after his dad passed away, it inspired him to grow out his hair, and he said that was information that he shared with Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe, knowing the significance of that, had ended up cutting his hair after the match that they had a while back. So which is reason why he's all pissed off or whatever, because he felt like he probably shared a little bit too much with Samoa Joe. But they did confirm that it will be Wardlow and Samoa Joe at the Revolution pay-per-view for the TNT title. I'm okay with that. I don't have any complaints. We'll like to see where this goes. I'm kind of guessing that they might give it to Wardlow now that they have the ROH TV shows coming. Since they're going to be taping that, now they're going to have to use Samoa Joe for the television title. Up next, we had Mark Briscoe versus Josh Woods. This was actually another great match as well. These two are very competitive in the ring. They've faced each other before in the past in Ring of Honor, so we have seen them in the ring. However, this was another great match to basically introduce the AEW fans to Mark Briscoe. Now, I know many people have already been familiar with Mark Briscoe, but you can't say the same for many AEW fans that probably just only watch Dynamite or Rampage. So that was a great way to get Mark into the ring and showcase him as a solo competitor. I do appreciate the fact that he still has the tag team titles. I do think that it would have been absolutely crazy to just basically take it away from him, like right after his brother passing. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be either addressed at the pay-per-view or maybe at the ROH TV tapings. But this was a really great match, so I do recommend going back for this one. My favorite part of this match was Mark Briscoe doing a cannonball from a steel chair out of the ring to Josh Woods. It was pretty cool to see. He has so much stamina and he's so animated in the ring. And oh my god, all the yelling and screaming that he does during the match, it's like it's great to see him in good spirits. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna watch this back and be able to see himself on a national televised show where he hasn't been able to do in God knows how long. So I'm really excited to see where Mark's career go from here. You guys already know Mark ended up getting the win for this. And next we had MJF, who was contractually obligated to be at Dynamite. He comes out and he cuts a really nice promo. Whatever he does is pretty great. He gets a lot of heat, exactly how a heel should be treated. And at some point he's like, he has someone who wanted to talk about Bryan Danielson. At first, for whatever reason, I thought he was going to say William Regal, and I was like, no, that cannot be the case. However, it was Christopher Daniels, and he comes out, and I'm like, is he really going to come out and talk shit about Bryan? But it actually doesn't work that way. So basically, he took out a envelope, and he's like, MJF had paid him to say horrible things about Bryan Danielson, but he didn't have anything bad to say, and he said nothing but good things. And I really do feel like him being part of that promo really made MJF look good here, because you know he's having that exchange with somebody. For the most part, I feel like we always see him doing these promos solo, but he really did a great job here, both of these guys. I'm not sure if they're leading up to these two having a match together. If anything, I feel like AEW is not going to have MJF get physical with anyone from here on out until the pay-per-view. Either way, I am really looking forward for the pay-per-view. We already know that it's MJF versus Bryan Danielson, and I can't wait to see MJF get the shit beat out of him, but I don't know if I see Bryan winning the title that night. Up next was Brian Cage versus Jungle Boy, and this is where I fell asleep. So I didn't watch the match until like 2 seconds ago. Honestly, I'm not happy with how they've been booking Bryan, especially since he's the 6-man tag champion. I just feel like he's not looking well. He's doing great in the ring, that's not the issue. I just feel like him with losing all the time and him not having his partners. We've even seen Dalton Castle and the boys on TV, so why can't we see the same with these set of champions? I don't know where they're going with it. I don't like it. However, I did prefer Bryan in this match. I didn't really feel like I missed much since I fell asleep, but I did enjoy what happened after the match. So if you want to check this out, it ain't so bad. I did prefer Bryan in this match. I would have preferred for him to win, but since they're going with this storyline of Jungle Boy going for gold, hopefully that's an all-Atlantic title, because Orange, you ain't doing it for me right now. I knew that that's the way they were gonna go. So Jungle Boy ends up winning this match via roll up, which is just so ridiculous. He ends up winning, and as he's leaving to the back, music plays, and it's Christian Cage. Now, I was so pissed the fuck off. I just watched it, so I was upset because the crowd, I didn't hear them. I don't know if it's because the music was on or whatever, but I didn't hear him. Had it had been in El Paso last week, they would have been marking the hell out and you would have heard them. And I don't like that at all. Christian is actually my second favorite wrestler, so maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but I was glad to see him come back. We did have Jungle Boy, who decided he was going to run up on Christian, and Christian ended up, I think, spraying like mace or something. He sprayed something in his eye, so now Jungle Boy can't see. Then Christian, he takes off his arm brace that he's been having on for quite some time. He took it off, just showing everybody that he all right, he's not injured anymore. So now he ends up grabbing him or whatnot. I think he was like choking him for a little bit, and then he ends up hitting a kill switch. I'm really happy that Christian is back. He is one of those people I enjoy to see wrestle and also enjoy to hear on the mic. So he's definitely gonna be a roadblock in Jungle Boy's way to getting the title. So I'm interested to see where that goes. So after that, we do have the Elite backstage. They're basically talking about their victory from last week, which they had a really amazing match. One of my favorite matches that they've had on Dynamite. However, then we have Top Flight and AR Fox come out and they want a rematch. And I was kind of surprised that they would do this so soon. But anyway, on Rampage, we're getting a rematch with these guys. I do expect a good match. However, I don't want it to feel like what we saw last week. I want to see different things. I think it's safe to say that with the whole best out of 7 series bullshit that they had going on, I felt like we seen them too much going against the same opponents, and at times it just got bored. So to see a rematch so soon, I just hope it doesn't feel like we just saw this match last week. So I am expecting good things, but I don't want to be bored like I was bored this week. Up next, we have Kip Sabian versus Hangman Adam Page. And let me just put it this way, the booking is bothering me. This match, first of all, I just want to say, wasn't really feeling the chemistry. It didn't feel so entertaining to me. Like, if I could rate this as a grade, I would probably give it like a C minus, probably a D. I just wasn't really feeling these two together. Matter of fact, probably just knowing that Hangman was going to win this is probably what made this less enjoyable for me. Simply for the fact that, you know, we had Kip that came back a couple of months ago, and as interesting as he is, as great as a wrestler as he is, I feel like they have not done anything significant with him. And I don't know, that's just throwing it off for me. But anyway, Hangman wins, obviously. Ain't nothing really anything about this match, but what happened after was really interesting. So after Hangman wins, we do have the BCC come out. At first I was like, well, I understand why Moxie is here, but kind of didn't really understand why Wheeler and Claudio was there. Then I was like, maybe for backup, but actually a little bit more ended up happening. So you know, both of them are expressing how they weren't happy with how their last match went, and then John says something about how he has no friends. And who does that piss off? The Dark Order. Now obviously we've seen the Dark Order stick up for Hangman. We've seen them try to be partners with him, and he always seemed to like want to be like a distant friend, not like a best friend or anything. So the Dark Order comes out, and who's on the mic out of these three? Evil Uno. And I was like, well, what the, okay, this is so weird. So now they make it to the ring, and Evil Uno is talking out of his mouth, and he is all up in Moxley's face. He's basically sticking up for their friendship with Hangman, and like I said, Hangman actually comes off to be like a shitty friend when it comes with the Dark Order. So I don't even know why they even came out to defend him or whatnot. And Evil Uno's all up in Moxley's face. Like, he is literally in his face, and I think he shoves him or something like that, where he pushes him. And at that point, everybody's like, holy shit, Moxley's gonna beat the shit out of him. But Moxley actually kind of ignores him. If anything, if I was acting all big and bad and the person that I'm being like that with ignores me, I would feel some type of way. Like, it's almost like Moxley wasn't even phased. Moxley's like, you know what, I don't want to catch a case today. And he ends up turning to Adam Page and tells him, hey, you know what, at Revolution, you and me, a Texas death match. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. Them having that death match element to the match is going to set this match apart from the other 3 matches, so it won't feel like something that we've already seen before. But I do feel like they're definitely being lazy with the booking for this pay-per-view. Me personally, I really wouldn't want to see them go against each other, but if it wasn't for the death match aspect of it, I probably would not want to see this. But anyway, this pay-per-view kind of not really doing it for me at this point, but there's more to come. So now to the main event, Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, and Toni Storm. Now these 3 are great competitors. However, due to the storyline not being strong, I would have not made this a main event. And another key reason why I would not have booked this to be a main event is because of the interference. Now I feel like people don't already take women's wrestling as serious as they should. And I feel like when you have an opportunity to put girls in the main event, you need to eliminate stuff that will just take away from the matches. That being interference. So we did have interference from Saraya. We did have interference from Jamie as well. Had these 3 girls just had a chance to just focus on just the 3 of them, this would have been a much better match. And I'm not sure why the storyline had to be in the match. It could have been, you know, after the match where you know, both of these girls are trying to recruit Ruby to be either part of the Outsiders or the homegrown AEW girls. I just feel like this was a missed opportunity. This match could have been much better if it had not been for the other girls being around. And for a main event, I think that just it's not the way to go. Overall, the match was okay if you don't mind the interference. Ruby ends up taking this win. Real talk though, this show was I don't know, like it just didn't feel like last week. Like last week felt really great. And when you're going towards a pay-per-view, y'all have to be pulling out all the tricks from your hat and whatever, and put the best shows that you could possibly put on, because this is what these upcoming weeks are what will get people sold onto these pay-per-views. And I just feel like they're not coming in strong with this. It's just not what I expected tonight. I expected a lot more. So next week we do have a match where there's several sets of tag teams. They're gonna be part of something. I don't remember what they called it exactly, but whichever team wins that will go against the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys and another team that will be determined the following week. So I'm interested to see who those will be. They did show a graphic with the teams that we're going to be in for next week match. I didn't get a chance to see everybody that was on there, but if you're hoping for like FTR or something, like that's not happening. They're definitely not on there. But I am excited to see about the ROH TV shows that they're going to be airing starting in March. That is what's really going to help build up that Supercard of Honor pay-per-view, and probably be able to take some of these guys off of AEW television and focus more on like separating these guys for a bit, because I feel like the roster is so big that it's just taking up too much space with AEW alone. So hopefully they'll be able to separate some people with AEW and ROH. Guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I will be back with Rampage, and I'm thinking about reviewing Battle of the Valley. That will be on Saturday. Very interested to see how that goes. Bye.